So Brandon and I are sitting down today because we are going to answer the questions that you've left us on our morning chat where we talked about moving to Maui. We're leaving Korea at the beginning of December, and then we're traveling for a few months, and then we'll settle down on Maui in March-ish.
March or April, I would say, yeah.
We have written down your questions. A lot of the questions were repeat questions, so we just kind of wrote it down as one thing, so we don't answer it multiple times. So the first question is, are you going to vlog your adventure? Are we going to vlog our adventure?
Yes, definitely. Definitely going to vlog the adventure. Honestly, we haven't really come to a decision or understanding of what the direction of our vlog will be. We definitely want to share. That's a big part of, that's been a big part of your life always, but the YouTube thing just helps it. But definitely want to make it exciting and valuable for people. And so I think we're open to ideas. I think someone said, is it going to be an extended dating my husband? Maybe that's what it'll be, is as we journey, we learn how to, communicate better or learn things together or whatever. It is going to be a unique situation where I don't think we spend that much time as we will on this trip together.
Yeah. We'll be in brand new places, and on top of that, we'll be with each other all day, every day.
Yeah, so being intentional more so, before dating my husband was about making sure we're intentionally spending one-on-one time together. And we'll still need to do that, but maybe on this trip we'll have to intentionally have alone time together.
Yeah, or not even together. I remember one of our friends, Sung Chan, he suggested that, as we create our daily routines, there should be, an hour or two where, I'll go to the beach by myself and, do a workout or read a book. And the same thing with you, where you just kind of go off and do your own thing, where, he really emphasized having alone time. And I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it, actually, because if you think about this week, aside from the nights when I drank too much, probably.
This week, it's a huge holiday in Korea, so Brandon's been off all week. So have I.
Yeah, it's been a historic, they call it Golden Week, I think, but a week and the following Monday off. So it's been pretty incredible. But I think in general, I do tend to wake up earlier. And so in the mornings, I do have that alone time where I'm trying to build in a routine. And so hopefully, maybe that might naturally happen. But otherwise, we'll build it in separately and we'll let you know about it.
No, I need to wake up earlier when we're in these new places, because I like to sleep in 2 hours past when Brandon usually gets up.
I would ideally like to wake up even earlier. I don't even wake up that early. 7 or 8 is when I wake up, but I'd like to wake up at 5, even if it's
Will you start a podcast about your experience and your journey to Maui? I don't think we'll start a podcast. I'm not saying ever, but not for this transition and this travel. I think we'll definitely be focusing more on capturing video. So the next set of questions is about whether we will have meetups during our travels. So we've gotten asked about a USA meetup, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Seattle, Tacoma.
Are we going to do meetups?
I think we're open to it, right? Would you be open to doing meetups?
Definitely open to it.
Yeah.
I think what I want to do is figure out a way, because comments are great, but things will change for us along the way. One of the things that I am thinking about doing is having just a basic blog set up so that we can also just have something available in addition. So say, for example, we're hey, do you want a meetup in this location at this time? We can kind of be a little bit more, we don't have to make a video to announce exactly where we are. Maybe we have an email or a website that'll help document and help us to understand what the interest is, and so, or where everybody's at. And so definitely want to get that going, but we just got to think about how that's going to happen. And that's slowly coming together. I've been working on her website, and so it's not going to be anything fancy, but it'll be something that will hopefully help along the way.
How are you dealing with all the visa applications when you travel to a lot of places at once? We would have to apply for the visas for the ones that we need. Right now, the thing is, we have a general idea of the countries we want to visit, but we haven't nailed down dates. We haven't booked any flights. And so once we get that information, it's just a matter of like going online and looking up which countries we need visas for and how much, how in advance we need them. And just doing that research and then just applying for the visas. I mean, I don't think that's the hard part, to be honest, getting visas. How did you guys save for the trip?
We just save in general. So one of the things that, as I was getting ready to get married to this girl, I read a book on, I read a book on budgeting, Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover. So that was sort of my gateway book into the whole world of like leadership and development and, just learning how to do the basic right things, which sadly wasn't really taught to me growing up. But I guess just the notion of saving my parents did instill in me, and then Dave Ramsey kind of gave me anyway an idea of, well, what to budget for. And so, yeah, we've pretty much been keeping up with a budget since we were married or even before then. And thankfully we've been fortunate enough to have enough. Well, I mean, we did make the decision to save, so that's been good too. So we have a good amount of savings going into this. Ideally, we don't burn all of it through this sort of risky venture, but yeah, I mean, if we had to start saving from last year, we'd be in a world of hurt, but it happened before then.
I think if we started saving last year, we might not even have entertained the idea of us going on this adventure. That would have been really tough. So the good thing is, like Brandon said, we, did start saving from the beginning of our marriage, not specifically for this trip, but it gave us like room to dream because we had that cushion, right?
That's a good point, yeah.
Have you guys considered Laos? And we think it's Laos because I think the person might have spelt it just Lao or something, right? So we're just kind of assuming that it's Laos. We are, because I feel like a few people have recommended Laos to us, right? About how beautiful it is. To be honest, I don't really know much about the place. Do you?
No.
Yeah. We haven't done our own research yet, but it's still like, I think it's, we're entertaining the idea, or we're open to it because it has been recommended to us. What are your financial plans or business plans that you guys have, as the cost of living in Hawaii is extremely high? I guess regarding our financial plan, like we mentioned, because we saved, I would say, I think if we're responsible with what we have, even if we made zero income, we'd stay alive for a good amount of time.
At least a year, yeah, we'd be comfortable.
At least a year and a half, yeah. I guess no like $60 face cleansers for me.
We're just talking worst case scenario, but I think if we were to, are you interested in going into any detail about, what kind of opportunities we're looking into?
Yeah. So I guess we're talking about financial plans or business plans, and I was gonna hop over to business plans next. But yeah, you can start talking about our business plan, because he's much better at explaining it than I am.
We're okay to talk about what you're thinking about doing?
Yeah.
Oh.
A general idea.
Yeah, general idea.
Yeah.
Well, so one of the reasons that this was a possibility for us is because, well, number one, the internet affords us a really cool opportunity to earn trust with people at a very, very, very low to almost free. I mean, if you have a phone, you can be online to share and add value. And so one of the things I'm learning along the way is that it's something that we can take advantage of. We should take advantage of if it's possible. And so that's the reason why some place like Maui or Hawaii seems really appealing, is because it's a really cool backdrop for us to live, hopefully, a healthy, well-rounded life, where we're pursuing something like, for example, Jenn's YouTube, or some of the things that I'm planning, which is still a little bit low resolution, so I'm not going to share it at this point. But like Jenn, for example, she's been on this YouTube journey for a couple of years now, and we're starting to get a little bit of focus in terms of kind of what people are responding to with her, and what her interests are. I mean, she recently got into life coaching, and that's, I mean, from my standpoint, it's really been changing her a lot. And so it's something that I know she wants to share more in depth, and I think that's something that we're going to pursue. And just other little things that, you know, we've wanted to like do with people that we just haven't had the opportunity to do, you know, for various reasons, time zones or locations or systems that I haven't had a chance to set up yet, all these different things. And so that would be the main thing that we're pursuing. And I'm hoping that this exposure for myself will launch into possibly a tech solution that I've been thinking about as an employee in a corporation, dealing with partnerships and micro influencers, kind of like what Jenn would be considered in that world. So that may have been a bit long-winded, but
you're so good at explaining stuff. Like, this is so hard for me. But I guess what I want to share on my end too is why I've been a little bit quiet on posting or sharing. It's just, you know, there's a lot going on, and there are a lot of things that I'm trying to hammer out for myself. But ever since I signed up for the Self-Coaching Scholars Program, I guess learning how to manage my own thoughts and negative emotions and all of these things that I'm just kind of teaching myself. Like, during that process, I was lucky enough to be able to share this whole thing with my sister. And before we had any ideas of any kind of a business, I actually asked my sister if I could like test run coaching with her for a month. So she committed to 30 days with me, and every night from 10 p.m. to midnight, I would be on FaceTime with her, coaching her. So that's like 9 a.m. her time because she's in New York. And that month we were focusing on like finding our purpose. Like, I was helping Julie uncover her purpose because she's fun employed right now. She's figuring out what the next step in her life is. And also, like, there are a lot of things she wants to take care of before, you know, looking for a new job. And so those 30 days was so great, just seeing like the growth in my sister. Even though like I'm pretty new at it myself, but I know that from a young age, like teaching has always been like one of my callings. And so I got to do it with someone. I mean, I got to lead someone that I, you know, love and trust, and it was like a safe space. It was like my ideal scenario, right? And so 30 days turned into another 30 days. And then now we're on our third month together. And this month we're focusing on, which is perfect. Like, the way that this lined up is insane, because this month is about organizing, not just your belongings, organizing and decluttering, not just your belongings, but like your thoughts. So just like I like to declutter the things that aren't serving me, I'm really learning how to like declutter the thoughts that aren't serving me. And I'm doing this with my sister right now. It's also such a nice lead up to what we're doing, because, you know, we're starting to like donate things or sell things as we're getting prepared to, you know, transition to Hawaii. So everything that's been lining up since we committed to going to Maui has been pretty insane. So yeah, I mean, ideally I would love to be able to coach. You know, obviously it's going to be impossible to coach everyone in person, so it would be online. And the area in which I want to coach that has been really resonating with me since like the first seed was planted was marriage coaching, specifically for couples that are in their first year of marriage, because we know how difficult that was. And we know now, like, the community and the support, I think that could have gone a long way with us. My like dream client would be, you know, a female that is going through like the hardships in the first year of marriage. So again, like, there are a lot of details to hammer out there, and a lot of like things that I want to do to prepare for that. So I mean, that's where I am right now.
Yeah, I didn't expect you to go into such detail on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's usually I'm uncomfortable sharing because it's not like this thing that's all ready for me to share. That's why I like to hold back, just in case, like, if things don't turn out the way that I imagine it in my head. But I think there's something really huge there. Like, it's hard for me to explain, but I know it's not something that I just like woke up and thought of. I feel like it's been deeply planted in me for quite some time. I feel like it's only coming to a head now that we're thinking about what our future looks like. And like the idea of me having my own business, I would have never thought in a million years. And I know one of the things that you said was, if we were to go to Maui and, you know, the demand for English teachers in Korea is going to be very different from here in Maui. And I think you mentioned something like the thought of you not teaching anymore, it kind of hurts you because you feel like that's one of my big skills or talents or whatever.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, you mentioned that and I was like, yeah, no, I think I'll like forever be a teacher for the rest of my life. So I think this is just another area in which I can exercise that, and I'm very, very deeply invested in. And also like the community group we're part of at church. I mean, we're in a family group with married couples. We've just been learning so much about other marriages, and yeah, there's something there. There's something there. It's kind of like how I felt when God first planted the little like hint of like us potentially moving to Maui. So,
yeah, right now it's a bit of a seed, or
yeah, it is.
just sprouting.
Yeah.
But it'll come into its full glory later.
Next question. I know you're trying to live a more minimalistic lifestyle and getting rid of unused stuff, but what are you planning to do with all your belongings? I think it was plants, furniture, clothes, pots, pans in South Korea. So basically, what are we going to do with all of our stuff?
We need to figure out what it would take to ship it to Hawaii.
Yeah.
And ideally be able to store it for a few months. So, in fact, I think we're meeting with someone.
Oh yeah, we're meeting with our friend that
Yeah.
might have a little bit more insight to getting like a crate, shipment crate, or is that what it's called?
He probably would either know or know people around him, because he does import-exports. And so it's at least somewhat related, I imagine. But we're going to ask him the details on, hey, what does the pricing, you know, what can we expect, you know, shipping would look like. And, you know, if it's not too terribly difficult, we'll probably keep a lot of our stuff and ship it over. But even still, there are things that, you know, we don't necessarily need to take to Korea with us. So she just created a closed Facebook group.
An online yard sale.
An online yard sale on Facebook with people that we know, and we're just starting to post things on there to give to people. And so that's really the gist of it.
I guess what I'm a little sad about is that we can't take our plants, but they're going to mom and dad.
Oh, yeah. We'll pass it off.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's my parents. That's right.
Yeah. In terms of clothes, I mean, yesterday, again, like this whole everything happening lining up to this move is perfect, because one of the assignments in my self-coaching scholars program right now is to take one area of your life and to declutter it every week. And this week it just happened to be my wardrobe, which if you follow me on Instagram, I posted like me pulling out all of my clothes and just piling it up on our bed, and then just putting back one by one the things that I truly you know, still wear, still fit me, I still feel good in. What I did this time is, because I've read about this in many blogs and Pinterest or whatever, basically when you hang your clothes back in your closet, instead of hanging it with the hook facing this way, you hang it the opposite way. And whenever you wear a certain item of clothing, you can turn the hook the other way. So at the end of the season, you can really see what did I actually wear and what did I not even touch. Because I think it's so easy to look at something and like justify it. Like, oh, I haven't worn it, but like, you know, if I were going to this event or if I'm going to attend the wedding, like I'm going to save it just in case. And, you know, if that item of clothing has been sitting in your closet with no purpose for years and years, that's probably a good indication that you don't actually like it or need it. Yeah, I pulled out everything, like my seasonal drawer. It's so nice because my section of our closet, like the shelf on top is empty right now. The space underneath, it's empty right now. It's like very, very freeing to like open up the closet and just see space. And I got to like spray it down yesterday with vinegar and like this vinegar water lemon like solution that I made, and just dusting and cleaning everything. It's lovely. Brandon's not really into decluttering.
I'm not there yet. No.
Yeah, I'm like,
that's what I was laughing at.
babe, do you want to declutter today, like as an activity? He's like,
Not even a
but
little
it's
bit.
so fun.
Yeah, and I saw some of the things she was throwing away, and I was like a little bit.
I'm not throwing away. I'm donating. I want to donate it to like a home or to friends.
My point is I liked it on her, but she doesn't like it, so...
How long do you plan on staying on Maui?
Well, what are your thoughts?
We're gonna stay for as long as we're called to stay there. I mean, right now, I would say like at least a couple of years, right?
Yeah, I would say minimum of 1 if nothing catastrophic or weird happens.
Of 2.
Yeah, I'm thinking probably 2 at least.
Yeah, I feel like the first year would just fly by, us just kind of getting settled and figuring stuff out.
Yeah, 2 or 3 is probably what I'm thinking.
I don't feel like I'm living for myself. Any thoughts or recommendations on things I should do on my journey and finding where I need to be and what home feels like?
That's a tough one. That's a big question.
Okay. Don't feel like I'm living for myself. I've definitely had close people in my life feel that way, especially after I just kind of left after finishing school and then moving to another country to live by myself. Like, I've had people in my life say, I feel bad, like I feel like I'm abandoning my family, or I have responsibilities here that I can't walk away from. It's a tough one because I think we all have such different paths. I think it's worth really diving into and thinking about like what it is that's keeping you there. If it's like this sense of duty, like I have to stay and I have to take care of my family, or else, But really, I think there's the whole topic of boundaries there, right? I think if you are there and you're serving and providing for your family from a place of love, and I don't mean like, ditching your husband to move to another country to travel, but I mean, I guess if you're still living with your parents or something. If you're staying there and you're doing it out of a sense of like joy and purpose, I think that's great. If you feel like you're there and they're not going to survive without you and there's some sort of resentment there, I think taking a step back and really reflecting and like looking into like your motive for being there, I guess.
So there's a guy I'm listening to.
Jordan Peterson. I hear about him every day.
So he's a clinical psychologist who went viral a year or 2 ago because he took a stand on this this bill that was in essence limiting free speech. That's just where he decided to take a stand. But after listening to that video, his interviews on Joe Rogan and his podcast, he's a university professor as well, but it is fascinating. His perspective, especially the psychological, and he marries it with, the mythology and religion and stuff that we've, like, frankly, our civilization right now is being formed on, and he explains it in that form, and it's such a powerful thing to hear. But in essence, he talks about this a lot. That feeling of not feeling like you're living for yourself. He kind of reiterates kind of what Jenn is talking about. A lot of that has to do with sitting down, and he's got this self-authoring program, which I just bought. I haven't done it yet, but it's this past authoring, future authoring, present authoring, and it's sort of this voluntary suffering. Because he talks about life being all about suffering. That's very evident. There's just things that fall apart naturally, but there's also things that are made worse by our action or inaction to do the right thing. He talks about doing a program like that where you're able to figure out, hey, what's my aim? As far as in the best way that you can imagine, what's your aim and how are you going to work towards that? And you start in these micro ways, and it's like become a meme now, I guess, because he talks about, well, clean your room. Like that's the first thing. What's the first thing, the nearest thing in your house? And decluttering could be one of it, I'm sure. But what's the smallest thing that you can change based on your power, and then you keep expanding outside of that. And I feel like having that aim and being able to exercise just even small areas every day of taking control and contributing in whatever ways that you can, that is probably one of the first steps that can help you get there. But there's way more. I'm not even saying it half or a quarter of as well as he could say it. So maybe you can link his stuff, but if not, just look up Jordan Peterson.
You give it to me and I'll link it.
Yeah, okay.
I guess the last thing that I want to say is to encourage you to keep wrestling with that. Like, I think it's unhealthy if you feel like you're supposed to be somewhere and you're not where you want to be, but to kind of stifle that and, brush it under the rug because it's too scary to start progressing towards that, or maybe you feel like you don't deserve to be somewhere else other than where you are. Like, I would continue to wrestle with that I don't know, even something as simple as like starting to do meditations or just journaling or something, just to keep it like a flowing river, if you will. Like don't stifle it, like let it be there and really see why it's coming up the way it is, why you feel restless about it.
To add to that, make it a routine.
Like the journaling and wrestling and stuff?
Yeah, the wrestling. Make it a routine. Don't make it like you can solve it in one like really tough wrestling session.
That's true.
You know, in the morning, and of course Jordan Peterson does talk about this too, and it goes hand in hand with cleaning your room, but you make it a daily, you wake up, you have some water, you journal for a certain amount of time, and then have a plan for your day and follow that plan, because we all need routine. Otherwise, the chaos of all the possibilities and all the evils and the dangers of the world can be overwhelming. So if you routinize that stuff and you tackle it day by day, you'll be on the trajectory of getting there. It's not going to happen all at once. I think that's the point that you're making. So you keep wrestling with it by intentionally putting it in your calendar, doing a little bit every day. And one day you'll look back and be probably shocked at how far you've come, according to Jordan Peterson.
And also, like, I was just reminded of something that Brooke Castillo always says is, you know, when we, like, make a promise with ourselves, whether it's like, okay, I'm going to work out tomorrow, and you don't put it in your calendar, and then it doesn't happen, and then you beat yourself up, right? So what she says is, when you plan to do something, like, put it into your calendar, and then, like, honor that commitment no matter what. And she always says, if you had a coffee date with Oprah the next day, like, would you blow it off because you're hungover or, you know, you feel like sleeping in? It's like, no, you go and you hang out with Oprah. And she's like, well, if you can commit yourself that way to Oprah, would you not show up for a CEO? You know, if you had a date with the CEO, of course you'd show up. And she's like, but you do have a date with the CEO. The CEO of your life is you. And so you have to treat yourself as if you're this really important person that you wouldn't just resort to being lazy for, right? That's something that, like, I've been really practicing doing. If there's something that I want to do, like, I will put it in my calendar and do everything I can to honor that commitment. I don't do it perfectly, but that's what I'm practicing, and it's not something you do once and you just get it right.
Yeah, it should be a tyrant either, yeah. I mean, there's a balance there, for sure.
Last question that has nothing to do with Maui, but it was left on our Maui morning chat video. This is from my friend Susanna. Hi, Susanna. She asked, I love your piercing, but what do you do about the boogers? That's a great question. And you know, this is my third septum re-piercing, which is crazy. If you guys watched our Dating My Husband episode, I had to go take it out because the piercing ended up being crooked. And then we went to Sydney for 11 days. I came back to Korea. We went to get it re-pierced. And the second time she did it, it was crooked. So she took it out and then she did it a third time. And the pain was pretty terrible. But what I think could have happened is the first time that I had my septum pierced, I had like allergies or something. Like I just had to keep blowing my nose. And I wonder if the pressure of me blowing my nose or trying to like clean it too hard could have affected like me moving the piercing. I'm not sure. Since this re-piercing, I have been very careful to just take a Q-tip and just, you know, clean it out gently. I've been making like a warm water and sea salt solution, and I use that to clean it out. I mean, if I'm cleaning the piercing, if I see anything else, like I'll dig it out. So thanks for that question. Thank you so much for watching. I hoped that answered some of the questions that you've had for us.
Thank you. I mean, this was a long one, hopefully.
Hopefully it was a long video?
Yeah, I don't know why I said that.
Oh.
And hopefully it didn't seem long, even though it was long. Maybe that's what I mean to say.
Okay. Thank you for watching. We'll see you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.